Hello, sweet soul, and welcome back to Brit's Bedtime Stories. Tonight, I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever woken from a dream with a strange feeling that someone was missing? Not someone whose face you could remember, not someone whose name you knew, just someone. A presence so familiar that for the rest of the day your heart felt homesick for a place you'd never been. And a person you couldn't quite recall. Perhaps you've experienced it. Perhaps it was only your imagination. Or perhaps there are some dreams that are more than dreams. Tonight's story is for the quiet romantics, for those who still believe that love can outlive time, that two souls might find one another again after lifetimes apart. And that somewhere beyond the veil of sleep, there may be doors that open only for hearts willing to remember. So, before we begin, allow your shoulders to soften. Let your jaw unclench. Feel the blankets settling comfortably around you. Take one slow, deep breath with me, in through your nose. Hold it gently and let it leave you in a long, peaceful sigh. There is nowhere you need to be. Nothing you need to fix. Nothing you need to prove. And for the next little while, you are simply allowed to rest, to wonder, to dream. And tonight, we're going somewhere very old. Somewhere hidden beyond the edge of ordinary sleep. A place that has waited in silence for longer than history can remember. And someone has been waiting there too. Not with impatience, not with expectation. Only with hope. Because some promises are so deeply woven into the soul that not even death or time can persuade them to let go. So close your eyes, sweet soul, and when you're ready, follow the sound of the rain. At first, there was only rain, not the hurried rain that races across rooftops before a storm, nor the lonely tapping against bedroom windows on sleepless nights. This rain carried warmth. It drifted through the air like a whispered lullabies, each drop catching the silver light of unfamiliar stars before disappearing into the leaves of an ancient forest. the scent of damp earth, cedar, jasmine, and wildflowers surrounded you. Somehow, it already felt familiar. You stood barefoot upon a stone path, worn smooth by countless footsteps. Behind you, there was nothing. No road, no city, no memory of how you had arrived. Only a veil of pale mist drifting silently between towering black trees. Ahead, resting peacefully among them, stood a temple. It seemed less built than remembered. Moonlight lived within its pale stone walls, softly illuminating delicate carvings that wound around every archway. Vines embraced its columns, blooming with flowers that slowly opened as though recognizing your presence. Tiny points of golden light floated lazily through the air. Not fireflies, not stars, something older, something that had forgotten the difference. Your heart stirred, not with fear, with recognition. You had seen this place before, not once, not twice, dozens of times. Always in dreams, always from this very path, and every single time you awoke before reaching the doors. Until tonight. Tonight, the great doors already stood open. Warm, golden light spilled quietly across the ancient stone. The rain shimmered as it crossed that threshold, transforming into countless tiny sparks before vanishing. You found yourself taking one careful step forward, then another. Not because anyone had called your name, but because something deep within you already knew the way. As you approached, you noticed something carved into the stone beneath your feet. A crescent moon cradling a heart, and above it, a single radiant star. Your fingers brushed gently across the carving. It felt warm, almost alive. And for the briefest moment, you could have sworn another hand had rested there countless years before your own. A soft breeze drifted through the temple. A single white feather floated past. It spiraled lazily through the golden light before disappearing somewhere beyond the pillars. You smiled without understanding why. Then you looked up. Someone was standing inside, motionless, waiting. You couldn't yet make out every detail, only the outline of an impossibly tall figure standing in quiet stillness beneath the temple's light. Long silver gold hair shimmered softly against dark robes embroidered with threads that caught the light like constellations. His posture was regal, yet there was no arrogance in it, only patience, as though he had mastered the impossible art of waiting without bitterness. Then he slowly lifted his head, and your breath caught. His eyes, impossible golden eyes, not amber, not hazel, not any color the waking world had ever taught you to name. They seemed to hold dawn itself, ancient, gentle, endlessly weary, and yet impossibly alive. The instant those eyes met yours, everything else disappeared. The rain, the forest, even the sound of your own breathing. It was as though your soul had realized, had recognized someone long before your mind had the chance to ask why. His expression changed, not dramatically, only enough for centuries of careful composure to fracture. Relief, disbelief, wonder, and a love so old your heart remembered it before your memories ever could. Very slowly, he took a single step toward you, then stopped. His hand twitched ever so slightly at his side, not reaching, not assuming, waiting, always waiting. And when he finally spoke, his voice carried the quiet warmth of someone returning home after a lifetime spent wandering. You came back. The words settled gently into the silence, not spoken loudly, not demanded, simply offered, as though he had whispered them countless times before, hoping that one day they would finally reach you. Your heartbeat stumbled. You searched his face. Every instinct told you that you had never met this man, and yet every beat of your heart insisted that you had. You swallowed. Do I know you? For a long moment, he didn't answer. His golden eyes searched yours with such quiet tenderness that you found yourself forgetting to breathe. And when he finally smiled, it wasn't the smile of someone greeting a stranger. It was the smile of someone watching the sunrise after believing the night would never end. Not yet. His voice remained calm, warm, patient. As your mind remembers, your heart already has. A strange ache bloomed beneath your ribs. You couldn't explain it. You wanted to step away. Instead, you took another step toward him. The distance between you shortened. Neither of you seemed eager to break it too quickly. It felt important, sacred, like approaching a frightened animal that had already decided to trust you. He bowed his head slightly, not out of superiority, out of respect. Thank you for coming this far. You frowned. I don't remember choosing to. His smile deepened almost imperceptibly. You always say that. Your eyes lifted. Always? His expression softened. There was affection there, and something else. Something heartbreakingly familiar. Every first meeting begins with questions. He glanced toward the open temple behind him. The answers are never waiting outside. A breeze drifted through the courtyard. The candles inside flickered, as though responding to his voice. You looked past him. The temple seemed impossibly vast. Columns disappeared into darkness above. Golden light danced across polished stone. It didn't feel abandoned. It felt lived in, loved, as though someone had tended it faithfully for centuries. Without thinking, you whispered, "It's beautiful." His eyes lingered on you. It became beautiful the first time you walked through its doors. You looked back at him. Confusion tugged at your thoughts. You keep talking as though we've met before. I know we haven't. He nodded. Your memories say we haven't. And your heart. You hesitated. You placed one hand lightly against your chest. Your pulse answered before your voice could. A laugh escaped you, small, nervous. I don't know what's happening. Something changed in his face. The sound of your laughter seemed to move through him like sunlight through winter clouds. For just a heartbeat, the centuries disappeared. He looked younger, lighter, almost happy. You still do that. You tilted your head. What? When the world stops making sense, you laugh. A blush warmed your cheeks. I suppose I do. You always did. The words should have sounded impossible. Instead, they felt strangely comforting. Silence settled between you again. Not awkward, gentle, comfortable, like a conversation paused rather than unfinished. And finally, he lifted one hand, then stopped. He looked at you rather than assuming. May I? You looked at his hand. Strong, elegant, perfectly still. He made no attempt to close the distance himself. Every choice remained yours, and slowly you reached forward. The instant your fingers touched, the world disappeared. Sunlight, warm laughter, wildflowers brushing against your legs. Someone chasing you through a field, not to catch you, only because hearing you laugh had become his favorite sound. The memory dissolved. Snow, a tiny cabin, strong hands wrapping a cloak around your shoulders while you stubbornly insisted you weren't cold. Another, a ballroom filled with music, golden eyes finding yours across the crowd, the unmistakable feeling of coming home. And another, rain, your forehead resting against someone else's, promises spoken through tears, words you couldn't quite hear. Another, a cliff beneath countless stars, your fingers intertwined with his, as both of you watched meteors streak silently across the heavens. Love, again and again and again. Then darkness. The memories vanished. You staggered. Strong arms caught you before you could fall. One arm supported your back, the other steadied your shoulders. Nothing more, nothing less. He simply held you until your balance was returned. His heartbeat echoed beneath your cheek, slow, steady, ancient. You became aware of your own breathing, quick, unsteady. Your fingers instinctively curled into the fabric of his robe. He didn't move, didn't tighten his embrace. He didn't take advantage of your closeness. He simply remained exactly where you needed him to be. When your breathing finally slowed, he spoke quietly. Welcome back. You looked up. What? What were those? His thumb brushed lightly across the sleeve of your arm, not touching your skin, offering reassurance without presuming it. Memories. They weren't mine. They were. You shook your head. I've never lived anywhere like that. A gentle sadness returned to his eyes. Not in this lifetime. The words settled into the silence between you. This time, you didn't dismiss them. Not because they made sense, but because something inside you wanted them to. You slowly stepped back. He released you immediately. No hesitation, no disappointment, only quiet respect. You studied him carefully. I don't even know your name. For the first time, he looked away, almost as though deciding how much truth your heart was ready to carry. When his gaze returned, it was softer than before. Names are curious things. They change. They fade. They are forgotten. But souls. A faint smile touched his lips. Souls have remarkable memories. He took one slow breath. Then, with the quiet dignity of someone offering you a piece of his history, he said, long ago, when kingdoms still measured time by the stars, one of my names was Aerion. The name drifted between you like music remembered from childhood. Something deep inside your heart stirred. You couldn't explain why. You had never heard it before, and yet it felt impossibly familiar. You whispered it without thinking. Aerion. The candlelight throughout the temple brightened. The flowers surrounding the courtyard slowly opened. And for the first time since you had arrived, the Immortal smiled without sadness. Not because you remembered everything, but because for the very first time you had remembered something. The temple grew quieter, not because the silence had deepened, but because something within you had. The fear that had accompanied you through the doorway had softened into something else. Curiosity, hope, home. Aerion stood beside you, saying nothing. He had waited through centuries. He could wait through one more heartbeat. You turned toward him. The golden light dancing across the ancient stone reflected in his eyes, making them seem less like the eyes of an immortal and more like the eyes of someone who had spent without asking for anything in return. You smiled, a small one, the kind that begins in the soul long before it reaches the lips. I don't remember every lifetime. His expression remained gentle. You don't have to. I remember enough for us both. You stepped closer, not because destiny demanded it, but because you chose to. The space between you disappeared with quiet simplicity. Your hand found his fingers curled softly around yours, warm, steady, as though they'd been waiting for that exact moment. You looked up into those impossible golden eyes. I think you laughed quietly. My heart has been trying to tell my mind something all night. A smile finally reached his eyes, not triumphant, relieved. It has always been wiser. You leaned your forehead against him. The temples seemed to exhale. Around you, thousands of tiny lights drifted upward like stars returning to the sky. Somewhere in the distance, a bell rang, only once. The sound carried through the valley like a blessing. You closed your eyes, and for a brief moment, you felt countless other versions of yourself standing beside you. A healer, a queen, a wanderer, a scholar, a woman laughing beneath an apple tree, another dancing beneath unfamiliar moons, another growing old with silver hair. None replaced you. They simply smiled, as though they had carried pieces of your soul safely through time, until they could return them to you. One by one, they faded into light, leaving only you, exactly as you quantumly are, exactly as you had always been. Aerion looked toward the stars overhead. His voice was almost a whisper. There have been many names spoken for me. The oldest kingdoms called me Aerion. The seafarers knew another. The first dreamers gave me names that no longer exist. He looked back at you. But there was one. His smile became impossibly soft. One that became dearer to me than every little title eternity ever offered. He raised your joined hands between you It was never a name given by kings, nor written into history. It was only ever spoken with love. His thumb brushed gently across your fingers. Lucael. The name echoed gently through the temple, not loudly, quietly, as though the stones themselves had remembered it. The moon, heart, star carved into the floor shimmered with warm golden light. Somewhere overhead, a single white feather drifted slowly between the columns before disappearing into the night. You looked at him, then you smiled, not in surprise, in recognition. It suits you. For the first time in countless ages, the Immortal laughed. It wasn't grand, it wasn't dramatic, it was warm, unrestrained. The kind of laugh someone gives only when they finally stop carrying the weight of loneliness. The sound filled every corner of the temple. Even the stars seemed brighter. He rested one hand gently over your heart. You placed yours over his. Two steady rhythms, one ancient, one beautifully human, both moving together. Promise me only one thing. What is it? If life becomes difficult, if fear finds you, if the world convinces you that you must carry everything alone. He smiled. Remember how this feels. He gently guided your hand to rest over your own heart. Because this temple, he looked around, has never truly been built from stone. It has always lived here. You closed your eyes. For the first time, you understood. The path had never been hidden. It had simply waited for the moment you were ready to believe you were worthy of walking it. A peaceful warmth spread through your chest. The temple slowly dissolved into starlight. The columns became mist. The candles became constellations. The rain returned, soft, gentle, familiar. You felt his embrace one last time, not holding you back, simply reminding you you were never walking alone. His voice reached you like the final note of a lullaby. Sleep now, sweet soul. When morning comes, carry kindness with you, carry wonder And whenever the world feels heavy, he paused. Place your hand over your heart. Take one slow breath and remember. His voice became softer still. You have always been more deeply loved than fear could ever persuade you to believe. The rain whispered against distant rooftops. The stars watched in quiet silence. Somewhere far beyond waking, an ancient guardian remained at the threshold between dreams, not waiting out of sorrow, but out of joy, because love, when it is freely chosen, never truly says goodbye. It simply leaves the door open, and somewhere just beyond the edge of sleep, a single lantern continued to burn, waiting not for a stranger, but for a beloved soul finding their way home. The lantern continued to glow softly, patiently, as though it had nowhere else in the universe it needed to be. Perhaps that is what love has always been. Not possession, not fear, not the desperate need to hold on. Simply a light left burning so that another soul may always find their way home. Far beyond the temple, beyond the mountains, beyond the stars themselves, morning would eventually arrive, but not yet. Tonight, there was only peace, only warmth, only the gentle rhythm of rain drifting across ancient stone. You felt one final kiss rest softly against your forehead. So light, you almost wondered if it had happened at all. Then his familiar voice, barely more than a whisper. Sleep now, my little fly. You've carried enough for one day. You don't have to think anymore. You don't have to remember anymore. I'll remember for us both. His hand moved slowly through your hair. Each gentle stroke seemed to melt another little piece of tension from your body. Your jaw softened, your shoulders relaxed, the muscles around your eyes became wonderfully heavy. The rain continued its timeless lullaby, steady, gentle, safe.
Feel your body becoming heavier now, as though every breath lets you sink just a little deeper into comfort. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing left to solve, no one you need to become before you deserve to rest. You have always been enough.
A quiet breeze carried the scent of cedar, jasmine, and rain. The stars above slowly blurred into soft golden lights. The temple faded into warmth. The warmth faded into stillness. Only his voice remained. Closer now, almost beside you.
Take one slow breath in with me, Flame. And let it drift away. Very good. Now, another. And let every thought simply float away like a feather upon the wind.
You breathed in and out, slowly, peacefully, naturally.
Good. That's it. Soften. Rest. You are safe. You are protected. You are deeply loved. And no matter what tomorrow brings, you will never, ever walk alone.
A long silence followed. Only rain, only breath, only the quiet beating of your own heart. Then one final whisper, so soft it almost became part of the dream itself.
Shh, that's it. Just drift deeper and deeper. Sleep well, sweet soul. I'll guard the door until morning.
The rain continued, softly, patiently, lovingly, until even the stars closed their eyes. Good night, sweet soul. We'll meet again in the space between stars, and perhaps in the space between dreams.